Sup fuckers? Good morning. It's Halloween. Welcome back to whatever the fuck we're calling this. I have no idea still, whatever. I'm here with camera wife Beck. Say hi, Beck.
Hi.
So, it's still pretty early in the morning, so you're going to have to deal with me drinking coffee today, and I don't give a fuck. So, today we're working on some fall and Halloween inspired foods. We're going to go across 2 meals today. We're going to do a breakfast brunch because it's not that early anymore. But we're going to do some pumpkin pie pancakes and apple cider donuts this morning. And then this afternoon we're going to do some jack-o'-lantern carved stuffed bell peppers and some baked mac and cheese. It's going to be green. It's going to look gross. You're going to fucking love it. So, first thing we got to start with is we got to start getting the prep work done because the first 2 things have to go for an hour before we can even start doing them. So we're going to roast off some whole pumpkins and we're going to make the dough for the apple cider donuts. The dough has to sit for an hour. The pumpkins have to bake for an hour. So we're going to get that out of the way first. And then we'll get the rest of this shit going as it comes across. Oh. Anyway, so we're going to start with hollowing out the pumpkins and getting them ready to go in the oven. So I got a couple sugar pumpkins here that we're going to hollow out and throw in the oven. You can make this recipe with canned pumpkin. I prefer not to because it's fucking processed already. There's all kinds of fucking additives and shit in it. This way you're getting a fresh whole fucking pumpkin. Oh, I already fucking did that one. So we're going to start with that and then we're going to work on the batter. So if camera wife Beck wants to scroll down and we'll start going after the pumpkins here. Alright, so we've got 2 sugar pumpkins here, or some places might call them decorative pumpkins, but they're baking pumpkins. So I've already done this one. We took the top off, we scooped out all the seeds and shit. We're not going to roast pumpkin seeds today because you should know how to fucking do that. You're an adult. So I'm just going to take the tops off. Kind of the same way you would if you're doing a jack-o'-lantern. Shit, you can even use leftover jack-o'-lanterns if you do them the day before and you want to get rid of them. You don't have to. And if you're an asshole parent like myself, you can watch your kids in horror as you murder their jack-o'-lantern. So, take the top off, get a spoon or something and just fucking rip all these guts out of here. Fucking run the spoon along the inside. You don't have to get all the guts out, but you definitely got to get all the seeds out. Just scrape, 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 scrape. It's not that fucking hard. You've been doing pumpkins since you were kids anyway, I'm sure. Alright. We got this fucking thing all cleared out here. And one little fucking seed that won't come the fuck out. Alright. So once you got that all hauled out, you're going to take your pumpkins with the tops off. You're going to drop 2 tablespoons of butter into each one. You slap the top back on it. Put it in a deep roasting pan. Such as this fucking turkey roaster I got right here. You're going to put these in a 350 degree oven for about an hour. You want the insides to be mushed, the outsides to start to tan up a little bit. And you want to be able to scoop these out without a problem. So I'm going to throw these in the oven. I'll be right back. We'll start putting together the apple cider donuts. Give me a second, guys. I spilled pumpkin guts in the bottom of the oven. I don't want the fucking thing set on fire. I gotta scoop them out real quick. Alright, we got that shit done. So, get rid of all this crap off the board here. We don't even really need the board at this point. Alright, so now we're going to put together our dough for our apple cider donuts. This is a recipe I've used before. I'm a big fan of it. My wife's never had it because I'm an asshole and I've never made it for her. And I want to make sure that Beck's not pointing that fucking camera directly at the light bulb. There, now you guys aren't blind anymore. So, wait. Good job, Beck. I know it's a new camera, but focus. Don't stare at me, stare at the screen. Alright, so we're going to put together our batter for our donuts because this has to sit and rest for an hour before we can do anything with it. So, in this bowl here, I've got, point it down please. In this bowl here, I've got 3.5 cups of flour and 2/3 of a cup of packed brown sugar. I'm going to put that in there. In this little bowl here, I've got 2 teaspoons of baking soda. I've got half teaspoon of nutmeg, half teaspoon of baking, I fucked that up. I have 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Pause that for a second, please. Alright, so in this bowl here, I got 3.5 cups of flour and 2/3 of a cup of packed brown sugar. In this bowl here, I've got 2 teaspoons of baking powder, half teaspoon of baking soda, 3 teaspoons of cinnamon, half teaspoon of nutmeg, a teaspoon of kosher salt, and I'm pretty sure that's it. Alright, so we're going to make sure all our dry ingredients are together, and then we're going to go into our wet ingredients. So this right here is the apple cider that we're using. It started as 3 cups. You got to put it on the stove for like 20 minutes and reduce that 3 cups down to a cup. Make sure that you reduce it or they're not going to come out as flavorful as you would like. So start with 3 cups of apple cider. Boil that shit down until there's only a cup left. Put that in here. To that we're going to add 6 tablespoons of butter that have been melted and then cooled off again because you don't want to put hot butter directly in this shit. And use butter, not country crock. Put that in there. Then we need 2 large eggs in that. Drop those right in there. Take a whisk to it, just get everything mixed together. Make sure the eggs are broken up good. Get some of this shit off the counter. Alright, we got all that mixed up good. So you want to make sure that your dry ingredients are well incorporated, especially if you're like me and you forget you got something covered. You buy 3 or 4 of them, they pack up a little bit, especially like baking soda and baking powder. Alright, so you got all your dry ingredients are well incorporated, all your wet ingredients are well incorporated. We're going to add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients, like so. And then don't use a whisk for this part, use a rubber spatula. Just make sure everything marries itself together real nice. If you use a whisk, you risk damaging the structure of the donut itself. So, and this is going to be thick, you want it thick. Just make sure that you mix it well so everything comes together. Oh, it smells so good. You want to smell, camera wife? Right?
Yum.
Alright. So this recipe is going to make about a dozen donuts. You should be able to figure out how to fucking multiply it more than that. If you got any questions, you can ask me somewhere else. So that's what your batter is going to look like when it's all done. It's going to be kind of thick. It should be a dark brown color because it's got a lot of cinnamon and apple cider in it. So we're going to let this sit and rest for an hour for all that dry ingredient to suck up all that wet ingredient so it's not so gummy. We're going to let our pumpkins roast for an hour. And then, excuse me, we're going to let that sit for an hour so we can work with it. We're going to let our pumpkins roast for an hour. And then we'll be back to start putting together the pancake batter. And we'll start frying off the donuts. Alright fuckers, we're back. So it's been an hour. Our apple cider donut shit is in the fridge. It's going to come out in a minute. But first, the pumpkins are ready to come out of the oven, so we're going to pull those out and we're going to gut them. So Beck will scroll down to the cutting board. I'll grab the pumpkins out of the oven and I'll be right back. Alright. So, we got our pumpkins out of the oven. They are thoroughly roasted, as you can see. They've browned nicely. The inside's good and hot and fucking goopy. And it's all nice and soft in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to peel the flesh out of the inside of the pumpkins. This shit's hot as fuck, okay? So you're going to see me wearing a glove probably for a little bit of it. But it's going to be okay. So we'll take the tops off these. Now these have hot melted butter inside of them. You're going to fuck yourself up if you try to fucking just cut right into this shit right away. That's enough, buddy. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to get this hot melted butter out of here. We're just going to dump it into a bowl because we can use this again later on in our pancake mix. Ah, that's hot as fuck. So I'll set that off to the side. So what we're going to do is we're going to split this right in half with a knife. The skin's nice and firm, so it's not going to fall out of there very easily. You're going to have to scrape it out. So you can see that's all nicely roasted on the inside. The flesh is coming right out. It's almost liquefied. That's exactly what we want to see. So we'll split these right in half. And then take a spoon and just scrape along the inside of the skin to get all that fucking pumpkin off there. This shit is hot as fuck, people. So, I'm going to be a pussy and wear a bitch mitten so I can hang on to this fucker. We're just going to scrape along the inside of the skin, get all that pumpkin off the skin. We don't need this part. It's not edible. Just throw it the fuck away. Put it in your compost heap if you're a fucking hippie. Get all that shit off of there. Once you get all this peeled off, we're going to transfer it to a sheet tray and cool it off. If you use the canned pumpkin, skip this step and know that I have less respect for you at this point. Skin's ripping up a little bit, but it's okay. Just make sure you don't get any pieces of that fucking skin in your final product. See, like that big old piece of fucking shit right there? You don't want that in there. Barely get. Stop eating hot pumpkin, you weird dog. You're gonna burn yourself. Alright. That's why I buy silicone gloves, people. Don't use cloth for this shit. Of course we don't have any spatulas. Alright, so we're gonna move this right over to the sheet tray. See that piece of skin floating around there? Make sure you get that shit out. Get that shit over there. Man, these fucking things are hot. Alright. You can see how well these cooked all the way through. A lot of folks don't dare work with most pumpkins because, well, A, it's easier to buy the shit in a can. I get that. But a lot of folks don't even know you can actually eat this shit. Most people just think they're for fucking decoration or the only way to get it's in a fucking can. Pumpkin's a squash, just like all the rest of them. You can fucking eat it. Get all that out of there. You even take the tops, make sure you scrape the little bit of pumpkin that's on there off as well. Alright, now we got all that shit done. Like I was saying, we're going to let this cool off because you can't really stick this right in hot because the pancake mix has got eggs and shit in it. So we're going to put this in the freezer for a while we make our donuts. and let that shit cool down to a workable temperature. Because right now it's like trying to handle liquid fucking magma. Oh, I guess magma is all liquid. I'm an idiot. Don't listen to me. So get that all laid out nice. We're going to pop this in the freezer and pull out our donut mix. Oh no. Perfect. Let's get this old messy fucking cutting board out of the way here. Last time we tried to roll dough on this counter, that shit slipped and slid everywhere. So we're gonna do this shit on a cutting board this time so it doesn't fucking do that. Alright, so we got our apple cider donut mix that we made earlier. It's all pretty and ready to go. You're gonna take that out of the pan, get it down on the board. And we're just going to take it a little bit and work it just a tiny bit, just to make sure that it's all one mass. We don't want it to fucking come apart on us. We sure as fuck don't want it sticking to the board. Now, tiny bit of flour on there. Smack it down a little bit. Bust out our fucking ass whooper here. A little bit of flour on that. And we're just going to take this down to about 1/2 inch or so. If it'll fucking do it, we'll see. Apparently, nothing likes to work right when I do this shit, so. Alright, that's much better. Doesn't have to be a specific shape, it just has to be rolled the fuck out. So, now, we're going to start cutting our donut shapes out of it. You take just a large circle, whatever you got a cookie cutter, that'll work. You got a fucking biscuit cutter, that'll work. Whatever you got. And just take as many as you can out of the first round of the dough here. Jesus Christ. See? If I could try to do something, it fucks up. Sons of bitches. Everybody's like, oh, this guy don't know what the fuck he's doing. There. Get that out. Get that out. And then we'll go back into the dough. We'll just turn it back into a blob again. You know, it's got all that extra flour in there. The reason you don't want to work this too much is it's going to get tough the more you fucking work it. So just push it back together into a fucking blob again, and we're just going to roll it out again. Do the same thing that we just did a second ago. Now, I always tell you guys how much these fucking things should make, and I'm always fucking wrong. So this recipe generally will make about a dozen donuts, but we'll see just how many we actually fucking get out of this one. And we got 7 so far, so. Hey look, there's our fucking dozen, what do you know? Even more, a little bit to spare here. This shit's sticky, so it's going to stick to the board a little bit, especially since the board's old and it's all full of fucking knife cuts. That one's going to be weird shape. We don't give a fuck what the shape is, we give a fuck what the taste is, right? Smack her around some more. Oh. This doesn't like to work out when I do this shit, does it, Beck?
Nope.
I can do this shit all day long off fucking camera and it works great. Just do a single.
Camera shy.
Alright. Son of a bitch. Alright, so we're just going to break this last piece into 2 pieces. Throw in a little bit of flour. Quit laughing at me, Rebecca. Get this shit stop sticking in my hand. Alright, so now you got to take some centers out of these. I don't have a cookie cutter because I don't fucking use them half the time, so I've got this little medicine dropper. We're going to save those centers. Everybody knows that some people like donut holes more than they like fucking donuts, so. Just pop the centers out of all these little fuckers. And another good thing about having these fucking holes right here, you can test how hot your oil is before putting an actual donut in there and ended up with a fucking greasy ring. You just throw a couple of these fucking donut holes in there, because if you lose a couple of those, it's not a big deal. You lose a whole donut and somebody's going to die. Alright, let's test their oil here. See if she's hot enough. We'll throw one of them little donut holes in there. These take about a minute on each side to cook. You want to cook them till they start to crisp up on one side, and then flip them over and do them on the other side. If you got wooden dowels or you got any kind of wooden implement, that's what I prefer to do this with, because it's a little bit more gentle than metal shit is. I just use the handles of my rubber spatulas. Take the fucking rubber end off it, use the handles, works perfect. Alright, so there's your donuts and your donut holes. This oil looking pretty good actually. The first donut hole's really fucking perked up in there. She swolled up nice. We're going to let that cook another second. While that's doing that, I'm going to bring this over. This is just cinnamon and sugar. That's all it is. You got about 2 cups of sugar and a tablespoon of cinnamon. We're going to dip the donuts in that as soon as they come out of the oil, because it's delicious, and that's what you're going to fucking do. Alright. So here's your first donut hole. Just roll that bad boy around in there. Grab a cooling rack here. I'm going to make a mess on the counter since I don't have any clean sheet trays. Just set that right there. Alright, since we got that donut hole come out nice, we're going to drop our first couple of donuts in. I don't know if Beck can arrange the camera so that we can see the inside of the deep fryer or not, but we're going to try. Let's see if instead of moving the camera, let's try to move the fryer around. It might be a little bit easier. Got the camera in position, pardon the crude editing right here. I had to help Beck with the tripod, it's kind of new to her. So we got a deep fryer here. You can use a pot on the stove if you want to. Just make sure your oil is about 375 degrees. Like I said, you want a wooden implement for this so you can flip these bad boys over when time comes. So you're going to take it, drop it gently into the fryer without warping the shape too much. Do a couple at a time. You don't want to crowd this because they won't cook right. So we're just going to let these fry up for a second. About a minute on each side. They're not terribly large, but if you make enough of them, you'll get plenty, trust me. So let these go for about a minute. When you start to see it browning around the outside here, on the one side they're good to go. So then you're just going to take your little wooden implement and stick it in the hole and drag it over. Just like so. Oh, maybe not like that. Some bitch. There you go. Give those another minute. Let them fry up. Make sure they're done. We'll get our big old bowl of sugar over here. You can't smell it there, y'all, but this smells so good. Take that out of there. Let drip dry for a second. Drop it straight into the sugar. While that's doing its thing, we're going to drop a couple more in before we sugar coat the other ones. And just take them and slide them around in that sugar, like so. Beautiful. Just like that. I guess you could use the tongs for this too, but you don't want to squish the uncooked portion of the dough. It'll be bad news bears. Oop. Damn fryer come unplugged. Alright. Let's give those a second. We'll actually have to flip those ones one more time because of our little fryer malfunction. Beautiful. So, we're going to go ahead and finish frying the rest of these off, and then... Alright fuckers, we had a bit of a snafu with the audio for an entire segment of the video. It was the segment with the pancake mix and the sweetened cream cheese for the pumpkin pie pancakes. I deleted the entire video segment, and the recipes will be available in Discord. These are cooked through on the one side. We got to flip them over. So we're going to flip these over. They're a little bit dark, but that's because they got a lot of pumpkin in them. So we're going to let these cook another minute on the other side. In the meantime, for plating purposes, and they do stink like pumpkin pretty good, don't they? Mm-hmm. In the meantime, we're going to get the other things ready real quick that we need to finish this. So we need to make the glaze real quick, which is a super simple sugar glaze. It is just sugar and milk. You're going to add a little bit of milk to a bowl, and you're going to put some sugar in it and whip it until it's thick. A little bit of milk. You're going to put the milk in the bowl. We're going to take some confectioner's sugar, powdered sugar, and we're going to put that in on top of the milk. It takes a fair amount of sugar to do this, so. Whoa! Throw that shit everywhere. I even got Beck on the other side of the camera. Alright, now once you get it to the thickness you desire, just whip it so it's friggin' all incorporated. Make sure there's no lumps in it. There probably will be lumps in it, but try to get them out if you can. Alright, there's our simple glaze right there. Then we put our sweetened cream cheese into a piping bag. So we're going to put that between the pancakes. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one pancake off, Set it on a plate. We're going to take our piping bag with our sweet cream cheese in it. And we're just going to put a small layer across the inside. Just like so. And we're going to take another pancake, we're going to slap that right on top. We're going to take our little ghost glaze that we made. And we're going to take just a tablespoon. We're going to drizzle that across the top of that. Oh, it looks like a nut. A little bit of that. We're going to take a little bit of whipped cream. Like I said, this is a sugar rush, folks. Enjoy it though. A little bit of that on top. We're going to take our murdered teddy bears over top of that. And that right there, folks, is how you make a pumpkin pie pancake. Alright fuckers, so we did breakfast, now we're back for dinner. Doing jack-o'-lantern stuffed peppers, and we're going to stuff them with kind of like a shepherd's pie mix. It's going to be some mixed vegetables, some ground beef that's going to be seasoned with salt and garlic, and mashed potatoes on top. And with that we're going to do some spooky green mac and cheese. It's just fucking white cheddar mac and cheese with a little bit of green food dye. We're going to bake that off and we're going to finish everything up. So let's start with prep first. We've got 3 pounds of ground beef. We're going to show you that over there when we get it cooking. But first we're going to prep the vegetables for the filling, and we're going to peel, or I'm going to show you how to carve the bell peppers for the jack-o'-lantern peppers. Alright, so let's get started. For the vegetables for this, we're just doing, we're going to do a mirepoix, which is onions, carrots, and celery. We're going to do some, I got some frozen peas and corn here we're going to mix in with it. And we got garlic for the beef. So we're going to cut this up. We'll start with our carrots, get these out of the way. Easier to work with if you split them in half. And slice them down like so. And I'm just going to split them right in half once I get them down on the board. I know a lot of you like the prep work, but I did a fair amount of the prep work because it's starting to get a little late in the day. We're trying to get this banged out in time for the kids for dinner. So if you're missing some of the prep work this time, I promise I'll make the next video prep heavy once we figure out how to work this damn camera. So next we're going to move on to the celery. We're going to start in the center. We're going to split that down into 3 pieces because you want these not terribly small, but kind of small. We're going to chop that up just like we did the carrots. Alright, onions. Anybody that's ever seen me do this shit before, they know exactly what I'm going to do here. But if you haven't watched it, what I like to do to help hold the onion together while I'm slicing into it or dicing into it is cut it down through the root end here. Right through the root. And then we're going to peel the skin back to that root, so that root's going to hold the whole thing right together. It's going to make sure it doesn't come apart while we're chopping it up. And I don't need this terribly small, so we're just going to go straight down through it. Get rid of that root bit. So we got one there. We'll do another one. We'll just chop it up. This isn't your traditional shepherd's pie, mainly because it's fall and it's Halloween, and I want it to be a little more colorful. So we're doing the mirepoix because it's a mirage of colors. You've got, you know, instead of just the one-note corn like most people would put in a shepherd's pie, especially cream corn. If you want your corn covered in jizz, that's on you. I prefer to eat my corn the old-fashioned way. so we got our onions all chopped up. We got our carrots and our celery. I got a big old bowl of shit right here. I did some of it earlier to kind of save some time on video for us. We got all that there. We're going to add the peas and the corn that we have to the same bowl. It's all going to get sauteed in the same pan together. Alright, so we got a little bit of garlic, and again, if you've watched this before, you know exactly what I'm going to do here. If you haven't, then I'll show you how I do garlic. So, once you get your garlic peeled, the easiest way to peel a clove of garlic is to, I'll get a fresh one to show anybody that hasn't been here, but they usually come in the skin like this if you buy them fresh, if you don't buy them in a jar, and they're kind of hard to peel. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the side of your knife and just smash it flat, and then the meat of the garlic will pop right out of the skin without any extra trouble. So that's what we do with these. Now, a lot of people are going to try to chop this up just straight round like this. It's so much harder that way. What you want to do is same thing as you were peeling it. You're going to smash this down into the board, get it flat and workable. Get it down in there, beat it like it owes you money. Now you got flat garlic to work with, so you just got to run your knife through it. You don't have to sit there and try to slice it or julienne it and then fucking chop it up afterwards. Save yourself a few minutes, have a little fun, take out some aggression, beating the shit out of it. Alright, so there we got some chopped up garlic. That's going to go in our hamburger for our ground beef for the base of this pepper. Alright, so here's the fun part. We are going to take these peppers here and we are going to take these bell peppers here and we're going to carve these into little jack-o'-lanterns. I've done a couple already off camera. See? They look just like me. They're missing a few teeth. But we did a couple of these off camera just to kind of get, you know, ahead, like I said we were going to do earlier. But now I'm going to show you how I do these. It's going to be the easiest way to do them. And then you can do these for your kids or your parents or whoever thinks this cutesy crap is cutesy crap. So, let's get started. First, you're going to take your whole bell pepper, okay? Don't take the top off it yet. Don't try to scoop the seeds out yet. None of that shit. We're going to carve it first, okay? So, take your knife and hold it like it was a pencil, or however it feels comfortable in your hand, and just start somewhere near the top, go in until the tip's all the way through, come down, triangular, and then pop the eye right out. Then make sure that your line is nice in there, just like you were carving a pumpkin. Set the very, very small fucking pumpkin. I'm going to go back in again for another eyeball. I'm going to pop that one out too. We're going to go in again in the center here. We're going to go right up between the eyes and start with the tip of the nose. Come down, come across, and come down the other side. Now there's going to be a membrane in there, some of these peppers it's going to stick. So you just want to pop it out, and then we'll clean that membrane out once we take the top off the pepper. But this, having its structural integrity in place, is how we're going to keep this fucking thing from smushing when we're trying to cut into it. So we're going to start up here just to the side of the eye. We're going to come across a little bit, carve a little tooth out here, just a square tooth. You want to make sure it's structurally sound so when you fill it, it doesn't friggin' collapse. And then we're going to come straight across here, maybe do another tooth right here. Bring the smile back up around this way. We're going to come back to this side here. We're going to start. We're going to come down a little ways to make a wider mouth. Come right here. Between these two teeth, we're going to put a friggin' buck tooth in the bottom. And then we're going to follow the smile back up around to the corner of the mouth. And then we're going to very carefully, without ripping out any of our teeth, because of that membrane in there. You gotta make sure you separate that with a knife. We're gonna very carefully pop all that extra pepper out of there. See? Now you got your little smiley face. You got your little jack-o'-lantern pepper. Okay? So after that, well, let me show you with the red one. We're gonna do it again, one more time, just to kind of, you know, solidify the information here. So you want to find a side that you think is going to be best to work with. Again, start near the top. Cut out 2 triangles for the eyes. One there. One there. You can even let your kids do this if you want to. Give them a butter knife. Let them have a fucking go at it. I'm not going to let my kids do it because, well, I don't want you guys seeing them, but because there's a lot of perverts on the internet, and I like my kids. But if you want to let your kids do this, give them a butter knife, or even better yet, a lot of these pumpkin carving kits come with, well, files right here. Anyway, a lot of the pumpkin carving kits come with a small serrated knife that you can use, let the kids use. Here we go. A lot of the pumpkin carving kits come with something like this. These are supposed to be safe for children with adult supervision. So if you want the kids to do this, this will work just fine. They just got to get that tip popped in there and then saw it out. Just like so. Give them a little bit of fun. You guys can enjoy the holiday together. So we're going to do the same thing we did with the last one. We're going to start up near the edge of the eye. We're going to part. So this time I think we're going to go redneck grin. We're just going to give them one tooth. Right up there. We're going to come across. We're going to connect the smile on that side. We're going to come down this way. Old Bubba here is only going to have the one tooth. So we'll connect the smile on the other side. Use the knife to pull it out. There you go. Now this one looks like my dad. So, got one tooth in his whole head. Alright, so once you have the face carved out, we're going to take the top off. It's going to be, oh, that camera angle was unnecessary. We're going to take the top off it like you would a pumpkin. And then we're going to take the seeds out of the inside of the pepper. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your top of your pepper, and just like you would a pumpkin, go in at a slight angle, because we can put the top back on this when we bake it if you want to. I'll just put it back on as decoration because the potatoes are going to stick out the top of it. But just go in at a little bit of an angle, go right around the top. Be careful not to cut into your eye holes and shit, because they're pretty close to the front top. Once you get around, it's connected all the way across, just wiggle it a little bit, pop out the whole seed pod right there. Take your knife that you're using, go right underneath the seed pod. Don't cut down too far, you'll cut the stem off. And just pop that right off. And you clear the seed out, just like so. Now you got your cap for your pumpkin. Then we're just going to go in and we're going to pop these little ribs out of here. Make sure we got all the seeds out. And you've got, however the fuck that went on there. There we go. And then you got your little jack-o'-lantern. Do the same thing with the red one. Again, watch the eyes. I got a little too close to that one and I split it putting my hand in there. You want to try to keep the integrity of the structure as high as you can. So try to stay up away from the eyeballs. Right around the top. Again, we're going to take the seed pod out of the top here without cutting into the stem itself. Take that right off of there and then reach down in there and pull the fins out. There we go, just like that. These little bastards are all ready to be stuffed full and stuck in the oven. So we're going to murder some pumpkin babies. We're going to move over to the stove and we're going to start prepping all the food that's going to go inside of these and finishing and doing up the cheese sauce for our macaroni and cheese. So I'll see you guys over at the stove. Alright guys, we're over at the stove. We're going to start cooking off everything for the peppers to get them stuffed. And we've got, you'll see back here I got the milk on for the cheese sauce, it's been on low heat coming up slowly. You don't never want to scald milk. It'll spoil it and it'll get all lumpy and fucking gross. So I got here 3 pounds of ground beef. We're going to put that in this deeper sided skillet right here. And in with that, we're going to put a garlic that we chopped up. We're going to start that cooking. And in this skillet over here that's smoking, we're going to put our vegetables. And we're going to saute these up. You just want to saute these until they're softened, because they're going to finish in the oven while they're cooking. If you ain't making a mess, you ain't making good food. Don't anybody tell you different. Into that ground beef, we're going to add a little bit of kosher salt. Oh, we're going to add a little bit of kosher salt to everything. So a little bit of kosher salt to the beef, a little bit more to the vegetables. Make sure everything's well seasoned. Because this morning's food was super sweet, so we are in desperate need of some salty. Get that all broke up, get all that seasoning mixed in. Make sure the seasoning gets mixed into this one too. You guys love how I always put too much shit in the pans, don't you? Alright, so we'll let that cook down for a couple of minutes. And yeah, that's about it. We're going to fucking let it cook down. We'll let this cook down for a few minutes and then we'll come right back. Alright, so it's been a little while now. We've got our vegetables have cooked down a fair bit. They've softened up quite nicely. This is where we want them. They're just starting to brown. We don't really want it to brown up too much. And then our ground beef is cooked fully. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our ground beef and we're going to go to this bowl right here. We're going to drain off some of the excess fat because we don't want all that shit in there. Don't do this into your sink, y'all. It's going to give you a fucking plumbing problem. And I don't want to hear that shit when your fucking plumbing's full of hamburger grease and it costs you $8,000 to get it fixed. Put it in a bowl, let it cool till it congeals, and throw it in the fucking trash. Alright. So, that's draining. We're going to move this over to the counter. And then we're going to move our vegetables over to the counter as well. And we are going to work on our cheese sauce. So, like I said, I've got this here. This is 6 cups of half and half, 2 cups of milk. It's a total of 2 quarts. So we've been bringing it up slowly over the course of like an hour to make sure that it doesn't curdle, because we want it to be hot enough to work with, hot enough to melt cheese into, but we don't want it fucking chunky like cottage cheese. So, what we're going to do, we're going to make a cornstarch slurry, which is just water and cornstarch. You've seen it on here before, I'm sure. And we're going to slightly thicken the milk. We don't want to thicken it like we were making gravy with it. We want to thicken it just a tiny, tiny bit so that the cheese, when it goes in there, bonds with the milk instead of clumping up. Just want to do it until it starts to thicken. We don't want to go anywhere past that point. Anything past that point is too much. Can you see in the pot there? Alright. So we got our heat at about medium. Our milk's right on the verge of boiling. Right on the verge. So what we're going to do is we're going to stir it slightly and start pouring in the cornstarch a little bit at a time. Just until we start to feel resistance in that milk. We don't want to go any further than that point. Alright. I'm already starting to feel resistance. See how it's already visibly thickened? Now that's ready to bond with the cheese instead of just burning it into it. So we're going to keep our heat low so we don't burn that milk. We're going to start with about a ½ pound of average American cheese. I use white American because that's what we do up here in New England. White American is king up here. That yellow fucking dyed shit. The only cheese that should be yellow is Cheddar and Munster, in my opinion. And even to that point, I'm going to use white Cheddar too, so because I want the color to set in here that I'm going to put in there. So we're going to put in our ½ pound of American cheese. We're going to sink that down into the milk, and we're just going to slowly stir and let that cheese melt down into that milk. It's okay if it all starts to clump together to itself. Just don't let it turn into little balls of shit inside the milk itself. Once you don't see any more big old chunks like that big old bastard right there, that was 3 pieces that stuck together. You can see it's already visibly thickened even more. Alright, so now that that's mostly all in there, we're going to go to our sharp cheddar, which in this case is a sharp white cheddar from the local grocery store. Just a white sharp cheddar. This is feather shred or fancy shredded, so it's going to melt a little bit easier. We're going to want about, I don't know, how big is this bag? This bag's 2 pounds, so we want about a pound of it. So about a pound and a half cheese total. We're going to stir that in. Keep stirring it till it's all worked in, nice and melty. And get you a nice thick cheese sauce out of this. Make sure she's all melted down. That's sexy, isn't it? Oh, it's so beautiful. Alright. I'm going to take just a little taste to make sure it's where I want it. You always got to taste your food, make sure it's right, because if it ain't right, you ain't going to like it. Pretty close. Needs more cheese. And notice that American cheese that I bought came from the deli counter. It's better if it's not the processed singles that you buy like Kraft and shit. All American cheese is processed, but the deli sliced stuff is a little more stable. Alright, so we got all our cheese incorporated in there. We're going to add just a dash of ground mustard, which is just ground out mustard seeds. It's going to add back some of the sharpness that you lost from the cheese melting from your extra sharp cheddar that you bought. It's going to add a nice little bit of a pucker to it. We're going to add about a tablespoon and a half of granulated onion. And we're going to add about a tablespoon-ish kosher salt. Mix all that in. And this is just a standard, my standard macaroni and cheese recipe. This is the one I go to when I want mac and cheese. The only difference between this and tonight is the part we're going to do next. We are going to make this a fucked up color. So, I have some food dye around here, right here. Just your old standard food dye. Oh shit, I dropped it on the floor. Alright, so to make this more Halloween themed, we're going to turn this shit green. I got just your standard green food gel. It's the gel version of food coloring. We're going to add some of that to this. Turn this heat way down now because that's going to start boiling if we don't. And we're going to squirt a fair amount of this in here. Probably most of it. We want this to be a nice, shitty color green. Just sickening looking. So, start blending that in there. Ooh, look at that. It looks more like fucking Easter Bunny than anything else. What the fuck? I think we're going to end up going with the whole tube. We might have to blend some blue and yellow. I want this darker. I don't want it pastel green. Jesus. I guess we're stuck with Easter Bunny green, folks. Doesn't look as horrifying and sick as I hoped, but it ain't fucking normal, right? So let's chalk it up to Halloween. All right, so we've got our oven set to 350, so that all this stuff can go into the oven. We're gonna move back. All right, guys, we're back over at the counter now. We've got everything that we got to put together in front of us here. We got all the fixings for our mac and cheese. I got the noodles here. We got gemelli or gemelli, whatever you want to call it. It's just a twisted macaroni noodle. I like it for this because it kind of looks like a worm. So we cooked that off earlier. It's cold. We got our cheese sauce. We got some breadcrumbs mixed with, it's just store-bought breadcrumb mixed with some grated Parmesan cheese. We're going to put that on top, just form a little bit of crust on it. And then over here we've got our vegetables and our beef that I cooked. And we've got mashed potatoes to put on top. These are just straight up mashed potatoes. Most of you are adults. You should know how to make a fucking mashed potato. If you don't, ask me later. I will come to your house and I will put my foot in your ass. So first we're going to put together the macaroni and cheese so we can get that in the oven because the pasta needs to take time to reheat. So we got our gemelli here in a big pot. We are going to dump in all of our cheese sauce. Yes, all of it, because even though this pasta has already been cooked, it's going to suck up a lot of liquid. So if I only put in a little bit of this cheese sauce, we're going to have dry mac and cheese. Dry mac and cheese is horrific. So we're going to dump this green mess into this pot, like so.
It looks so weird.
It does, right? We're going to dump that in here like this. And we're just going to take our rubber spatula and we're going to combine everything until everything's got a coating on it. See how nice and thick that cheese sauce is? It's going to coat those noodles nicely. And the noodles, the shape that they are, they're going to pull that sauce in between them. So every bite you get is going to have cheese in it. It's going to be a nice, it's a nice noodle for holding cheese sauce. Nobody uses it. Nobody ever uses gemelli, which fucking confuses me. Because it's a great little pasta. It's great for sauces, especially heavy sauces. It's even better if you're just doing olive oil and a little garlic. Or a pesto or something along those lines. So, just want to make sure you get all your pasta off the bottom. Make sure everything gets a little bit of that cheese. Now your cheese is going to start to thicken up a little bit. And that's just because you put it into cold pasta. So cool the cheese sauce down to thicken up some, it's fine. Don't fucking worry about it. Look, it looks like I have my finger up Madonna's butt. Alright. So I got a couple casserole dishes here. They're small because my metal one is ruined. If anybody loves me and wants to send me one, I'll give you my address. So, what we're going to do, if I can find what I'm looking for here, is we're going to take this, we're going to pour this right into these casserole dishes, filling it most of the way to the top. Put that in there, pack it down in there, and I sprayed the inside of these with a little bit of Pam because it's going to make this shit easier to clean afterwards. And seeing as how I don't do dishes, I'm sure somebody in this house appreciates it. Be it camera wife Beck or one of the little taquitos in the other room. So, now that we've got this in a pan, we're going to sprinkle it liberally with, is that the right word? Fuck it. With breadcrumbs, right?
Freely?
Huh?
Freely? Yeah.
Sure. Fuck it. You know what? Let's call this a Mad Lib, guys and girls. Make up your own fucking word for what I'm doing. Because words are hard, and I don't care. So just make sure you cover most of the top. It's okay if you see a little bit of green poking through. Alright, now I'm going to pop these in the oven real quick. And then I'm going to roll back over and we're going to work on the, we still got quite a bit in the pan here. See, I never know when too much is too much. But we'll throw that in the fridge and the kids can shit green for a couple days having that for lunch. Alright, so I'm going to slide these in the oven. Remember, that oven's set to 350, so it's already ready to go. We'll pull out a board to work on. So, these are our little jack-o'-lanterns that we stuffed. We're going to take the tops off. The tops are really just for show. You don't have to cook them or anything. We're just going to put them back on top at the end just to make it look like the jack-o'-lantern. Shit, you'll have to figure out which ones go to which one. I already forgot. So, alright, so we got all our peppers here, our little guys. This one, where is he? This one right here, camera wife Beck decided that he needed to be thrown on the floor. So his face is all smashed the fuck up. And so he's got some toothpicks that are holding his little face together. So he's seen Dr. Taco, and Dr. Taco took care of him after me and old Beck beat shit out of him. Alright, so we got, we're going to start the base with our beef because it's the one that's going to hold in there the best. This is going to fall out the mouth. It is. It's impossible to fucking stop. So we're going to put a fair amount of beef in the bottom here. Okay. Right up to about the nose hole. See? There's a beef line right below the nose hole. So once you get your beef in there, we'll take another spoon and we'll come in with our veg right here, and we're going to fill it up almost all the way to the top with our vegetables. Okay, now you got everything in there. You got your veggies playing in there, you got your beef playing in there. Okay, so once this is to this point, I have the piping bag over here that I was playing with earlier. It's got mashed potatoes in it. It's got a star tip in it, but I don't know if it's going to work or not. So we're just going to take our potatoes, we're going to pipe them around. Oops, shit. We're going to pipe them right around the top here. I think I found that butter chunk we lost in there. Yep, there it is. Oh, shit. Well, that pumpkin just had a party, folks. Alright, we'll pump this around in here, just on the top. So now when that roast is up, then when that roast is up, y'all, when that roasts up, that's going to brown up nice. We'll put it under the broiler for a few minutes, and it's going to give it a nice color. So I'll show you one more time, and then we're going to cut away to fill these up, get them in the oven, and we'll come back with the finished product. So, beef, hold it back too, okay? Hold it back too, so when you roll this back up, the beef will settle and not fall out the hole. So you want to fill it right up with beef. As I look down and see my belly sitting in the beef. Hey, you know what? I'm eating this shit. You're not. Suck a dick. Alright, so now you got your beef in there. You're going to do the same thing with your vegetables. You don't have to worry about the vegetables so much because they're not going to fall out the nose hole. Okay? You got your vegetables, leaving a small space at the top. And your piping bag with your potatoes in it. Just like that. We'll do one more just to show you again how it's done in case you missed it the first two times, whether you're drunk or high or just mentally incapacitated in some way or another. So hold it back too. Is that showing on there? Mm-hmm. Hold it back too. And fill it up so that when you roll it forward, that the beef takes up at least half the pepper. See, this guy's got a big old mouth on him. He's losing beef out his hole. Alright, go back in with your veg again. Leaving a little space at the top. And your piping bag of potatoes. There you go. That's what these little fellas look like when they're oven ready. We'll be back in just a little bit and we'll show you what the finished product looks like and how to plate it up. Alright folks. Alright fuckers. So we're at the end of the video now. Me and my daughter just had a great idea. We're going to go through everything that we've done today, and we decorated one of the plates. It's fucking great. You'll love it as much as I did. My daughter's as fucked up in the head as I am, so it's fantastic. So our dinner portion is finished. We're going to go ahead and plate that up, and then we'll show you everything that we've done today, and well, we'll say goodbye after that. So we have here, if you want to scroll this way back, this is our macaroni and cheese. Came out of the oven beautifully. It's even drawn out the sides. It looks like some kind of toxic waste mess, which is fucking fantastic. It's better than I hoped. And then next to that, we've got our bell peppers, our jack-o'-lantern bell peppers. So we're going to go ahead and plate this up. We're going to start with our green macaroni and cheese. Alright, so we're going to start plating up now. We've got our green mac and cheese. The stuff on top here is the breadcrumb and the Parmesan that we were talking about. We're going to get a spoonful of that. We're going to put that right in the center of the plate here. It browned up a little bit on the bottom, but it looks so good. It's so disgusting, but it's so beautiful. We're going to put that right in the center of the plate here. Okay? We're going to come over here to our little jerk-o'-lanterns. And we're going to find the one with the prettiest face, which is going to be this little fella right here. He is hot. We're going to squat him right in the center. Or off center, whatever. Then we're going to take our caps that we set to the side. And this is just for show. It's just for prettiness. We're going to pop that right there. So, that is our white cheddar, green mac and cheese, and our jack-o'-lantern stuffed bell peppers. So to recap, today we did this, which I just showed you. We did our apple cider donuts, which are apple cider infused donuts. I mean, there's no other way to put it. And then we did our pumpkin pie pancakes. Back, scroll up. We did our pumpkin pie pancakes, but we beheaded a teddygram to make it more Halloween-like and put it on top. My daughter and I have a sick sense of humor, but that's adorable, isn't it? Look how beautiful that pancake is, with its little beheaded teddy bear. But that's our pumpkin pie pancakes. Now this can be used as a Thanksgiving breakfast. This can be used all fall long. I just decided to go Halloween with it towards the end here. So my little girl and I are both fucked in the head. So it's fantastic that she's like that. I love it. So that's the end of our video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves today. I apologize for any camera snafus or weird editing. It's the first time we've done a video with a new camera, and camera wife Beck missed a couple things, and I missed telling her a couple things. So, you know, shit happens. Per the usual statement, if you didn't like the video, fuck off. I don't make money off this. I do it for fun and I do it for friends. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself as much as I did. I had a great time with this stuff today. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of effort, but everything came out so good and so cute. I mean, look at that. Come on. Really? Tell me that is not just fucking adorable right there. That little itty bitty face and that nasty green shit around the bottom of it. And then of course, our decapitated teddy bear. Come on, really? You gotta love it. Anyway, I'm Taco. I'm a professional chef. I work at a place doing this daily. If you guys have any questions or comments, you can find me on Discord, which I'll put here. You can find me on Twitter, which I'll put down here. And recently I actually started using my Instagram account, so I'm going to put that up in this corner here. The Twitch thing, we're having issues with the camera quality and everything, so we're going to hold off on that until we can put together the right equipment for it. As soon as we do, though, we will be live, and we would love to take questions and everything, and love to interact with you guys. We had a good time with it last time that we did it. Unfortunately, all the snafus that we had with the equipment were they just weren't worth it, you know. So, thank you again for watching. Say bye, Beck.
Bye.
We love you guys. Thank you for your support and everything, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Enjoy.